Go ahead and start the next round.
Move on to the next one.
And of course, we had Max Kellerman. I don't know. I think Max Kellerman want to join New Media because now he's preaching the thing New Media and AkHi, of course, been preaching for the past 5 years.
What's that?
Max Kellerman had a great interview with Andre Ward, one of my favorite fighters and analysts. Andre Ward came out and had an interview on Max Boxing. And Max basically stated that Andrade is basically the most avoided fighter today. You know, he even named fighters. He named Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin, of course, all the fighters on the zone, really, from Billy Joe Saunders. He also named both of the Charlo brothers, even though that's a little iffy because, of course, they have history, and it was actually Jamel Charlo that wanted to smoke. So that being said, Andrade is the most avoided. He wants all the fights, and he can't get it. Now, they were talking about how can Andrade position himself to land one of these mega fights? And Andre Ward responded by saying, listen, he's a high risk, low reward. So that being said, it's going to be very tough for him to be in that position. He has to get his name on one of these big names. Like he has to get his hands on maybe a Charlo, for example. And if he could make a statement out of a Charlo, then that will open up doors. That will get the fans pushing for a fight between him and Canelo Alvarez, for example. And I could see his point. That's actually 100% true. But I think the fans they already pressuring fighters to get in the ring with Andrade. But I don't know, it's the fighters more so on the zone that have a deal, like you stated that previously on episode 20, I think, where you stated that the zone gave these fighters all the options in the world, all the power in the world. They can't force them into a fight. They could cherry pick and make millions, like Gennady Golovkin is doing, and AKA Canelo, of course. So I think I agree with Andre Ward, but even if he beats a Charlo, that's not to say Canelo is going to face him or Gennady Golovkin. I don't think either one of them will face him, but it will put him in a better position.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give a shout out to Andre Ward, and I think he watches the show because that's exactly what I said almost verbatim at the time that we were arguing about that. I said that your boy Andrade was a low risk, high reward type of fighter, not only because of his style but his boxing skill, and he just doesn't have the kind of resume that is gonna excite the general public.
It will excite the general public, though.
Well, I'm saying right now he doesn't have it.
I think right now it will.
And particularly, I said fight somebody like Charlo, make an impression, and then go from there. I think he really doesn't have a choice.
The better question is, why does it have to be a Charlo? Because, of course, that guy's on PBC. So how come it ain't the guys on the zone? That's the guys on the network.
Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacob, they friends. But I see your point. You know, Jacob, Gennady Golovkin. But to your point, though, you're saying, of course, that's what he has to do. But that's what he been trying to do. And I think it's a big fight. Andrade versus Canelo versus Charlo versus anybody in the middleweight division is a huge fight. Versus anybody at 168 that's a champion is a mega fight. Him versus Saunders, him versus anybody at 168 that's a champion. So it's not.
You think it's a mega fight? Because you admitted that he fought Kovalev. And that
who fought? You talking about Canelo?
Canelo, and the numbers weren't crazy.
Exactly, because Kovalev.
But then Kovalev has fought Ward, was the champion. He's a name that people know.
And why is that?
And why is what?
Because coming into the fight, people is not hyped. I mean, London didn't even show up to the fight, and that's his biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? My man London, right? So my point is, Canelo Alvarez, when he goes into fights that's supposed to be mega fight, that's supposed to be legacy fight against Kovalev, they aren't 50-50 fights. So the fans aren't hyped up. They could care less. I even had my man, some of my Mexican friends, I was like, are y'all watching the Kovalev fight? They were like, nah, we ain't paying for that fight. I'm like, man, it's on the zone. You be buying Canelo fights for $60, $80. You're like, oh, nah, I ain't paying 20 for that. Because they know Kovalev is washed up. But I promise you, if he would have fought Charlo or Andrade, everybody would have watched the fight. And we agreed, me and you and London, that we're going to fly to the fight if Canelo ever faced Charlo, right? So it just lets you know it's about the hype and the anticipation for the fight. If it's 50-50, you could sell it. But when Canelo is so favored to win by KO, then it's, you know, nobody, or the interest is not as high. So if he faces an Andrade, if Canelo faces an Andrade, or if Andrade faces a Billy Joe Saunders, the fight is a 50-50 fight. And of course, it's not a 50-50 fight. Andrade will be the favorite, but at least according to the odds. So that means money will be flowing in. So that's why Canelo's stardom is dying and his stock is falling, because he's being a businessman, too busy building stocks on Wall Street. So
I wouldn't say that his stock is falling.
It is falling.
One thing that I would say about Andrade is that I don't think that a fight with him right now is gonna get the public's attention. I just don't think that people know about him. He fought on a Thursday before the Super Bowl, the last fight.
Be more specific though. I mean, on a Thursday because of the Super Bowl, and of course he had Jojo and Diaz. I mean, Jojo Diaz versus Tevin Farmer on the undercard. Not even the co-main event. They had a YouTube fight as the co-main event, but it was a built card. So we have to give him credit for being the main event. He even went.
For real? You had to give him credit for being the main event over
the
a
fight
YouTuber.
Before that, the fight, and Jojo Diaz versus Tevin Farmer. And the fight before that, he sold 14,000 tickets in his hometown. So what I'm saying, it seemed like Andrade is the Terrence Crawford at 160. Terrence Crawford, he's a higher reward, but he's even a higher risk. And Andrade is the same thing at 160. Now, I know we keep throwing Charlo in there in the mix and stuff, but he's on his own. They have all the talent at 160. So they supposed to be fighting each other. Why are they talking about Charlo, who's the odd man out? You know what I'm saying? Which we're going to get to him because he too called out Andrade and called out Eddie. I'm not going to quote him because, you know, he fried them, you know. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I'm saying he wants to smoke as well. So we need to see Andrade versus all the guys at 160 on the zone. And Eddie, if he want to show that he has Andrade best interest, like Dante said, he need to pressure the Gennady Golovkins of the world, the Canelo of the world, and the guys like Billy Joe Saunders and everybody on the zone, the way he putting pressure on Charlo.
Okay, yeah, okay. You say that you say so. If you go in there, you're his manager, and you go in pressure. You know, you're using to apply pressure when you got leverage. So make your case for Andrade. Like, why should you fight this guy?
Because
right there?
On the zone we have Gennady Golovkin. We have Gennady Golovkin and Andrade on the zone that doesn't have an upcoming fight.
No, I know that, but just say I'm Canelo. I have a fight in May. You're Eddie Hearn. You're whatever. You're Andrade's. Make your case right now. Like, tell me why you should.
He arguably the best 160.
I want to just hear the case. Be like, he's the world champion.
Okay, I'm Eddie Hearn.
Make the argument. Yeah.
I'm about to be Eddie Hearn.
Let me see.
Okay, well I'm about to put my. I'm gonna do Eddie's job for him. Since he ain't doing it, I'm gonna do it for him.
Let me make the case.
Hey,
make
Canelo
the case.
Alvarez.
Yes,
man.
We are listening.
You know, all the respect to you. You're one of the best Mexican fighters today. But Andrade said you don't got no cojones, and he a whole champion.
And you ain't said nothing about Andrade yet.
And you ain't said nothing yet. And Gennady Golovkin, you Triple G, but Andrade treating you like Lil G. Is you serious? You're going to let him disrespect your name like that? Put some respect on your name. And he need to pressure the zone. All I'm saying, he could do it respectfully. He don't have to disrespect Canelo and Gennady Golovkin or anybody. All he has to do is apply the same pressure that he's doing on Charlo on these guys on the zone. For example, just send an offer and make it public. So people know that Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin are turning down these offers. But when you don't talk about it and people say he the most avoided, why are you being his promoter? You're supposed to be promoting him like the boogeyman, because he is the boogeyman and the most feared at 160, him and Charlo. So that's my point. Eddie need to apply the same pressure if he has Andrade's best interest. That's all I'm saying. So can you hit the bell? On to the next round. Of course, we can't ignore what Oscar De La Hoya had to say. He came out stating that Billy Joe Saunders and Smith at 168 turned down a fight with Canelo. They both turned it down. Now, ironically, he also came out a week ago claiming that Charlo turned down a fight a year ago.
Yeah, that was.
And it's like some BS. Like, bro, we've been talking about that fight for I don't know how long. How come you never put it out in the media? So, the thing is this. You said on our previous episode that Canelo is the face of boxing, or at least one of the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if he's such a face of boxing, why is he offering chump change to Smith and Billy Joe Saunders, where I know for a fact, and I know 100% they want to face him. And they sincerely do, because that's the best option, is just a no-brainer. So why is he lowballing them? It seemed like he want to just act like people turning down fights with him because, you know, he's the best and stuff, and make the case for him, which we know we could all see through that, like a broken glass. But what I'm saying is, if Canelo Alvarez is the face of boxing, why is he lowballing these cats? Because I never heard Mayweather send somebody an offer and they turn it down to fight someone else. Show Professor Nim, we're going to end the night. And of course, Split Decision. Episode 22 is over with, where we offer the Book of the Truth every Sunday live on Split Decision. So make sure y'all tune in. Make sure y'all click on the notification bell to get notified every time we post or go live on AkHi TV during Split Decision. We have real life professors teaching at the AkHi University. All you have to do is subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumb by the second, don't. And listen to these decaps /O Media. Of course, shout out to Dante for starting the new media wave that I'm a part of. And obviously, shout out to Professor Nim. Always great talking to you, man. You know, lay it out. Of course, you picking Tyson Fury. I'm picking Wilder.
I got him by split decision. So we're going to, you know, cut up this live segment. So we're just going to have the one that's focused on the prediction. So we want to see the people 50 push-ups. Go ahead, put online. Like, we're going to record it. We want you to record live, and then we're going to post those up. And then also, once we get to about like 20,000 subscribers on AkHi TV, we're going to bust out a very cool segment called Professor Nim's Boxing Gems, where we're going to be teaching you like little subtle movements, but just kind of really schooling y'all, taking it from the classroom into the gym.
Yes, sir. That being said, I just want to lay this out, excuse me, because I forgot it to mention it. Wilder, if he cornered Tyson Fury, he better, like he knocked him out, like knocked him down in the 7th round the first time. Man, put your hand on his head, man. You know, like Barrera, we watched when he fought Prince Nassim. What did he do? Because Prince Nassim Hamed moved his head. He would grab his head with one hand like he throwing a punch, but grab it and punch it with the other. Wilder need to do that. Don't throw the hook to land. Throw the hook to just grab his head and. That's
just called boxing genius. That's like that's like
I feel
little
like Wilder
subtle
could pull
stuff.
it off.
I
feel like Wilder could pull it off. He's athletic enough to pull it off. He just need to be taught these things and be reminded during the fight.
To do it that quick, you have to have a boxing mind. So when you think about Lomachenko, like he does a move where he pulls your hands down and like comes over, but that comes from growing up having a boxing mind. So, and you talking about Marco Antonio Barrera, who is a boxing legend.
I think Wilder, we're gonna prove you wrong and show you.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I see
mind this Saturday. So
we're gonna come live.
Tune in. We might come live after the fight, depending on Professor Nim's schedule. You know, he a professor working on research, working on abs. You know what I'm saying? Big things. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna leave him at that. That being said, appreciate all my AkHis, man. Professor Nim, you already know.